Welcome back to Action Games and Comics Review Show. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by my true believers, Edwin and Ricky. Welcome back, true believers. What's going on? We're here to talk about some of the recent comics that came out this week. We got a bunch of great choices for you from DC, we got Marvel, and we got one independent choice this week, but it's the best of the litter. So, Edwin, want to lead off with you? What you got for us?
Sure. First book we got here is called The Comeback Kings. It's basically all your favorite stars from back in the day: Bruce Lee, Tupac Shakur, Jim Morrison, and basically they're like this little band of this little group that basically get together, and I think it's some secret espionage thing. I had to power read through most of this. Jim Morrison's like pretty much the most awesome character for his power set, where he can summon the dead, which is pretty funny.
He's got a link with the spirit world. That's from all the years of.
Dude, you also missed Andy Kaufman.
Oh yeah, Andy Kaufman. That's right. Andy Kaufman is in this book too.
I didn't recognize.
I didn't recognize Andy Kaufman in this book. I didn't recognize it until I read it. And I'm like, that's Andy Kaufman.
Actually, that's Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, I know that's Andy.
Elvis.
I know that's Elvis.
Well, the great thing about it is like the first person that pops off the page is Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, wait,
like,
these are all dead people.
Yeah.
How did that happen? And that makes you want to read the book.
And also kind of reminds me of a little bit of like Dead Celebrities meets the A-Team, because Tupac pilots the helicopter.
He drives.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's right.
I mean, come on.
He's B.A. Baracus without the flight. Like the flight,
and also the whole milk thing.
And the milk,
the milk thing. Although what's funny to me is like some of the little things they do in this book, like explaining that all these guys actually weren't dead. It was this big government conspiracy that pulled them into this group. And Tupac is now masquerading as a drama teacher, and he has a wife and kids. His wife's dead, but he's got kids, and he's a drive to do dad.
The fantastic thing about this that I loved was Bruce Lee is a leader.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome.
And like Elvis calling him sensei.
Yeah.
And like all this other random
Jim
stuff.
Morrison, it's Jim Morrison when he comes in. He's with some lady friend saying, "Come on, baby, light my fire."
There's also random little other things like that. Like Elvis will randomly mention the Heartbreak Hotel.
Yes.
And random stuff like that.
And it goes throughout the whole book. It's just funny and great throughout the whole book.
Andy Kaufman, where he's in the what's it called? He's in the fast food joint, and he's like, "Man, this guy can't speak a lick of English." He's like, "Oh my, oh no, he's that character."
The great thing, it's like it's funny and it's
thank you very much.
It's random dark satire, but there's an actual story,
right?
Which is weird, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And
pick it up. I mean,
I definitely would pick it up.
Highly recommend it. Definitely the independent pick of the week, and I mean, I'm telling you, coming out of Arden. I mean, I don't really see like beyond like Flash Gordon, but I mean like this is just really good.
And come on, Tupac,
he's
back.
Tupac for sure.
He never left.
One love. All right, Ricky. What you got?
All right, we got Flashpoint Abin Sur, which I've been anticipating ever since I even heard Flashpoint was being released.
I have too.
It's essentially it is and it isn't a what if basically, or an Elseworld I should say.
Yeah.
Basically, this is going on if Abin Sur hadn't died. Basically, with the whole thing is Flashpoint, everything is changing. Abin Sur didn't die. Hal Jordan never got the ring, and the thing about this is all of the, the ripple effect that everything else that didn't change, which was Sinestro.
Right.
He's still a Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Because I think, especially one of the things, Hal Jordan getting the ring and showing up Sinestro, and then Sinestro, just all that.
It's falling down.
Well, it's a respect. I think it's a whole respect level. Remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, also the really cool thing about the book is that they also show that even though this is kind of like an Elseworldsy type of thing, that there are still a lot of things current in the DCU that are still present.
Yeah,
because the thing about Flashpoint is that it's the same. It's the same world. It's just everything's been changed.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing that was great about it was that Abin Sur, obviously a character that never really been touched on heavily, aside from the origin story of Hal Jordan. He's a really good character. He's a really good character. Not to mention, he reminds me a lot of Hal Jordan, but a little bit more. He follows the rules, but he won't if he really just doesn't believe that that's what's happening. That's what's supposed to happen.
It's also cool to show like some of the ramifications beyond Flashpoint. I mean, like obviously Jeff Johns set up Secret Origin with Green Lantern and showing like the whole thing with Atrocitus, and they touch on the fact that because he didn't die, what happened to Atrocitus?
Oh,
And they touch on that heavily in this book.
They do.
Well, that and the whole thing we were saying with what's it called, Abin Sur and his whole thing being like how, but in my sense, he's a little more. It's a little more nuttier because the thing is, he's like, no, I can't let anyone die.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm just like, it's a bit of touchy on obsessive right there.
A little bit.
And I'm like, it's a little more than Hal would. I mean, Hal.
Not to mention, you get to finally see the connection with Sinestro and Abin Sur.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, they've always had that.
That was very cool.
With
I
Abin
like
Sur's
that a lot.
sister and everything.
Yeah.
But then they still touch on it. Obviously, they have to touch on it, but it's
But
still a major factor.
That's
in
one
what's
of the things
going
that
on in
didn't
story.
change neither. The whole
Yeah.
sister, the whole
Yeah,
sister
exactly.
scenario,
Very true.
That didn't change. That still
All right.
remained the same.
All right.
Let's lead into the next one. We got Secret 7 Flashpoint #1. This deals with one of my personal favorite characters out of the old DCU, and dealing with, a little bit in Hellblazer for some people that have been keeping up with that. We got Shade the Changing Man. Which, oh yeah, dude, he's an awesome character.
Oh, I know.
Well, I remember him, but
Dude,
I'm like, they
he's
brought
great.
him back.
Oh yeah, dude, he's awesome in this. And now the name may throw you off a little bit because Secret 7. Most people think like Secret 6.
Yeah, that's what I thought
It's like
when
a
I first saw
Flashpoint
it.
tie-in. It isn't.
It
It's
threw
not
me off a
related.
little
It's not
bit.
related to Secret 6 at all. If you want to boil it down, it actually kind of reminds you more of the old Shadow Pack stuff.
Yeah.
Because it features a lot of those characters. Enchantress, Shade the Changing Man, and they start touching on some of the other characters.
Supernatural.
and
beings,
where
basically.
and where Shade came from.
Oh yeah, and actually they haven't really touched on Shade's backstory.
Yeah. Yeah,
'cause he had a short
what,
memory.
forever.
Which they don't tell you.
No.
They don't
I mean,
tell
he
you
had a
everything.
short
But
run. Just remember that.
Oh,
That's
well,
the
yeah,
thing.
but I mean, dude, he's an old character.
I know,
he's a really old character.
Yeah,
my favorite part about
really
the issue
short
though
run,
is
you
I kind of
kinda-
had to I had to keep myself in reality because
Right.
as I was reading it, I was losing touch with myself.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to kind of force myself to remember I was reading
Oh yeah.
a book.
Dude, like, to be honest with you, Shade actually brings to the table something that we haven't really seen since like Neil Gaiman's Sandman run.
Yeah.
Is the fact that it so leaves you without a sense of reality. I mean, Shade is such a
What is
weird character.
psychotropic? What's it
He's
called?
psychotropic, psychedelic.
Yeah.
He's just a weird, colorful character. And if you want to check up on like some of the more like mystical type of stuff that's going on, especially in Flashpoint, and a character they haven't really dealt a whole lot with in the DCU, you should pick this up. Flashpoint.
kinda
Not to
like-
mention, Pin's awesome.
Get
Just
a pen.
saying.
Get a pen with the book. Why not?
Absolutely. All right. Next up, Edwin.
Yeah, next up we got The Shield by Jonathan Hickman. And I've been reading this book since issue 1. This basically, nothing really big. I mean, a couple of big things happen in this book, basically. But you have to have been reading a long time for what's going on. The whole thing with Michelangelo in the story sense, because Michelangelo got introduced to the last story of the arc, and he's basically telling the history of each character. Like, Sir Isaac Newton, Nikola Tesla,
Right.
all these characters, and the book, I mean, you guys have to have been reading the older stuff because the earlier 6-issue run, because there's a lot of deep stuff in this book. Like, this book is just basically like, okay, we're back. That's all. It's just referring to Michelangelo.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, personally, the one thing that I really like about the book and I don't like
What's that?
is the fact that the book is named Shield.
Yeah.
Okay, and it deals with all.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying with that.
No. It's something completely different. Is the fact that the book is called Shield.
Yeah.
And it's about the origins of Shield. But this book is far more interesting than they've ever had with Shield.
Of course.
I mean, to be honest, now Shield's like boiled down into like these like secret Avengers and
Oh no, yeah.
all that stuff.
When I first read the first book, I was like, I remember Scott was telling us, he's like, dude, you got to read this, and I picked up the first issue, and I was just blown away on it. It first started off as a Marvel book,
Right.
Basically with Shield, the first Shield. Basically, Shield started off in Egypt, and it beat the Brood,
Right.
And how everything started, which was a Shield.
Yeah.
So it just got so deeper. It just got deep with a lot. There's like this book has, and when you read Shield, you must reread it twice because there's a lot of deep meaning inside of each issue
Right.
that you will miss out. But
You just have to go deeper.
yeah, exactly. Each of these characters.
Feel harder.
You feel hard. Each of these characters, though, Michelangelo's going back to each of them. The origin of what's it called, the Sun Child.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just. I mean, this is gearing up to something pretty nuts.
Personally, like this particular issue kind of left me cold, but like I really caught.
I can understand
like
that.
half and half of the original run, and because of that, I mean,
Well,
it really left me a little cold.
Yeah, you got to read the whole original run because you won't know what's going on. This is literally picking up at a battle with Isaac Newton and Leonardo da Vinci, and basically it's science versus religion, right? What's it called, mind and faith. And when Michelangelo comes into the mix, and he's like, oh, these characters, he's like, they're both kind of wrong, but then they're both right.
All right, so what do you say? Pick it up?
Yes, this is definitely pick up.
Ricky, what do you think?
I haven't read it, but from hearing you guys talk, I might.
Yeah.
Believe me, I advise people to pick up the trade.
I was listening. I was like S.H.I.E.L.D. and they started mentioning Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm just like, wait.
Dude, Nikolai Tesla is my favorite character in this book. Like it goes into deep things, like Nikolai's wife. Like his in actual history, he had a pet bird that he says, I love this bird because this reminds me of my wife. And in this story, his wife
ties in with that. With
it's a bird, but it's just she turns into a spirit.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Edwin, pick of the week for you.
Oh hell yeah!
S.H.I.E.L.D. Pick it up. All right,
agreed.
Ricky.
All right, we got Flashpoint, Batman, Night of Vengeance. This book focuses on, if you read Flashpoint #1, if you haven't, I would hold off on, I would hit the mute button.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Right. Spoiler warning for this.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Spoiler alert. Basically, Batman Night of Vengeance, this focuses on, obviously, Thomas Wayne. If you read Flashpoint #1, you would know that it was a big reveal that Batman in this universe is Thomas Wayne and not Bruce. Also, just a little side warning, you get a little button here. You got a Batman button here.
Hold it down there a little bit.
Yeah?
There you go.
See that? Yeah,
Boom.
Batman button. I got it on because I got the book. It focuses on Thomas Wayne and his just everydays, basically, as Thomas Wayne, as Dr. Thomas Wayne. He runs a casino, which...
Dude, it's a great setup on that because he owns a casino. Like, originally, I saw the whole previews for Flashpoint, whatever.
Yeah.
The one thing they don't explain is the reason why Thomas Wayne owns a casino is to draw in criminals to beat out, like, just beat up and kill.
Yeah,
that's way more sadistic than anything else.
It is.
Well, because one thing you got to focus on is Bruce Wayne had a whole childhood and a whole lifetime to become who he was and gain his morality. And Thomas Wayne was already adult. He was where he was, and all of a sudden he had to watch his wife and child die.
Yeah, and he's rage-filled.
So now he's just angry. He's stopped being a doctor. Now he's just out to kill any criminal that he can find.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something too. Thomas Wayne is a dramatically different.
Yeah.
Batman.
Oh yeah, he's
rough.
He's just pure hate.
Yeah, he's pure hate.
He's awesome.
Batman.
I mean, he's actually a fun read. I mean, it's a 3-issue run, but
it kind of reminds me of, like, almost as if Batman was a mob boss.
Yeah.
A little bit, because, like, his style, like, he's older, but he wears suits.
It's kind of
like,
he
beats the hell out
basically,
of people
honestly,
with his bare fists.
I see it as if he was a mob boss, but he was trolling everyone.
Yeah.
He's just like I know what I know. He's like, oh, you come to me, I'll have your business, but I'm gonna kill you.
But I'm secretly gonna kill you.
You won't know because I'm awesome.
I secretly kill you in the background.
Yeah, basically. I suggest highly pick it up. You get the button.
Yeah.
I have the button.
Yep.
It's on my shirt. It's really awesome.
It is awesome.
Pick it up, definitely. I definitely agree. Brian Azzarello.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Azzarello.
Good stuff.
He's great.
All right. Next up, I got Fear Itself, Book 3. I got a little bit of a problem with this book, but at the same time, it's good. You know, Fear Itself, like I've said multiple times, it's kind of left me a little bit cold, personally. Yeah, just because Siege, I personally dug. Dark Reign was good.
Dark Reign, beginning-wise, was good. Siege, the problem with Siege was I had so many issues with Siege, man.
Well, Siege's ending was badly. I mean, it was just really bad. But
which is usually the main problem with those types of story arcs. It goes on, just pick up, and then...
Because the setup was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Thor, Asgard.
Well, no. This setup was actually pretty good, but this one, exactly as you saying, left me a little hot and cold. This, like, second issue, I did not dig too much. This issue, it was a bit of a surprise because, something, but I still, when I was reading it, I was like, okay, when you told me something, I'm like, I already figured this out.
Well, the biggest thing about this book is, for those of you that read Captain America Reborn, or Captain America A Man at a Time, there's something that they touched on in that happens in this book.
Damn.
So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just, hey, I haven't said anything.
I know you haven't said anything, but anybody who's read that, they know already.
Hey, all I'm saying is, if you read that, it happens in this.
Yeah. And I think it's a cop. I mean, in my opinion, I think I'm like, really? They didn't try hard enough.
It's great to know. It's great to know the final solution, but it's great to know why.
Exactly.
How it happened.
Right. Exactly. But to me, I really didn't like the whole thing, but the ending was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just the panels of the last pages were worth picking this up.
Well, it's because you knew it was going to happen. It's just this you forgot, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there it is, again. Right in your face.
Yep. No. I say pick it up just because the ending is going to be collector worthy. I mean,
that's true, but
it is.
I didn't like. I mean, this book I did not like.
Yeah.
I did not like because the thing is, I think it's cop out in my opinion.
Right.
That's what it
well,
is.
I'm going to tell you though, if you're already collecting Fear itself,
Of course, but I didn't like this book at all. One up, one down for us. So yeah,
I'm in the middle.
This book
I'm not too big on Fear itself personally.
I love the way they did Ben. He was awesome in it, but it was just the whole setup was just. Nah.
Well, of course, the art was good though.
The art is beautiful. The art's very great, and that's one thing that we, notably a lot of people forget about things.
Right.
Like, hey, art is always awesome about these comics, and that's one thing that sometimes in past, not us, but basically, I've seen past reviewers, they never really touch on art and stuff like that.
That's very true. They always kind of leave the artist in the dust. And to be honest with you, there have been plenty of books that the writing's been garbage, but the art has been awesome.
Beautiful. Like,
so, for instance, Cry for Justice.
Cry for Justice.
I love that run, only for the art.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry if anybody else disagrees, but
I agree with you.
The art was just you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the art was great. It was phenomenal. I wish they would use that in more things.
I wish the art was a story.
It could be worse, man. It could have been, the rise of Arsenal, with the whole undead cats.
I'm not getting into that.
Yeah.
Let's not touch on that.
All right. Now we make that a little bit better with Flashpoint number 2.
Number 2.
Thanks
there it is. Flashpoint.
Flashpoint.
Exactly.
Okay. Flashpoint number 2. If you didn't pick up the first one, for God's sakes, pick it up.
Yeah.
This second issue just leads on, and Flashpoint's turning out way better than I thought.
You say exactly. I did not. I was like, I'm not gonna. When I remember the first book that when we reviewed together, Flashpoint number 1. I was like, I'm not gonna read Flashpoint, man. I had no interest in it whatsoever.
It's Flash. I don't really care about Flash.
I do like Flash, but the thing is, it's just this whole scenario. I didn't care for it at the time, and I'm just like, After I read the first one, I was like, okay, maybe the ending was awesome, but is it gonna still be just as good? Then the second issue, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
This one really touches on instead of showing you all these different characters, they show you more of the landscape of the world in Flashpoint too.
It gives
you.
For
instance,
they have a full spread in here.
Give you an example, if I can find it.
Not the Super 8 spread.
No, there's a. Oh God, go ahead and find it.
Apparently, all these books have the super. Apparently, all these books have Super 8.
There you go.
If you see here at the back, there's a map of the world of Flashpoint. It basically it points out all of the different things that are going on. Like right here in Africa, you got. It's guerrilla controlled. Grodd's got control of Africa.
Yep.
Finally, Red Star military base in Russia. It shows you right here in the back what's going on and who's got control of what and just the control of the world and how it's different.
I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that the ending will just throw you through.
Yeah,
that was just.
Dude, it's one of those big slaps.
Yeah,
in the face when it comes
is.
to cliche comic book moments.
I laughed.
I loved it though. That's the thing about. I was just like, whoa. I said, okay. And I'm like, oh damn.
I was kind of glad it happened though.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, because it's something that's so different.
I was reading and I was like, panel. Okay, he's gonna. No.
Because I originally thought I'm like, okay, this is gonna happen. I'm just like, it's exactly how you say panel. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. It threw me for a loop. The entire book itself. I'm just to be honest, I'm loving the tie-ins that are going on, everything that the Flashpoint's changing. Not necessarily what it's changed, but the fact how it's all fluid. There's no discrepancies. There's no plot holes.
This is like it's like if remember how when Blackest Night came out. Blackest Night had a bunch of really good tie-ins.
Yeah, exactly.
That got me into reading other books.
Exactly.
And this just sets it up perfectly.
I agree.
I say pick it up.
I do.
Just a must.
I do.
It's got to be read. That's all I'm saying.
Even and you're gonna go into this next thing.
Yeah.
This is our next thing.
The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do our Action Games and Comics rant of the week. Which our rant is, which if you're online, you probably already heard about it, read about it, whatnot. The biggest thing about Flashpoint is after Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Brand wide.
What's Jeff Johns' quote?
Jeff Johns' quote is, the first thing about Flashpoint is you do not talk about what happens after Flashpoint.
There you go.
And why? The DCU mass relaunch.
Yeah.
52 books,
52
all number
books.
ones across the board.
I'm still unsure, and I'm sketchy on what that means.
I'm in the midpoint with him too, because the thing is, my thing is, it's an upside because I'm like, you know what, fans are gonna be very angered with this.
Well,
The thing is,
if it is what he's thinking it is,
all right, hold on. I'm going to tell you something. And this is something that I think that personally modern comic book readers don't understand, is the fact that this is not the first time this has happened. Okay?
No.
Golden Age to Silver Age to Modern Age. It's happening.
Yeah, it is.
It can happen again. It's been 30 years. At least 30 years, right, Scott? Right?
Our correspondent
More?
Scott agrees with us because he's yes.
At least
the one thing I'm digging about the whole scenario is basically as if whatever you've read for DC is ending, and you're like, you know what? If you don't want to continue reading DC, you're like, you know what? I feel adequate with what's going on. You're like, you know what? I can go on without the rest of this stuff.
Right.
Well, a lot of collectors are basically like this. They're like, I'm going to read comics until whenever this ends.
Right. Well,
and then if it's ending point.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The biggest thing about this relaunch is the one thing that I personally have been complaining about for at least the last 5-6 years is the fact that all these comic book companies are putting out a bajillion of comics in their catalogs, and they're all at least $2.99, $3.99 books, and they expect everybody to pick up the 50 bajillion Batman books, or the 50 bajillion Titan books.
This is what I'm digging about the relaunch.
Whatever.
I'm digging that because it is eliminating that.
Right.
That's one of my big problems with the current books now is that there's too many Batman books. There's too many of these books. I'm like, I understand. Okay, Green Lantern. There's a reason why there's Lantern Corps in this because there's different story times.
Right.
But you don't need 5 different Batman books for the simple fact.
You know what? You know what though? Like everybody should check out New York Times, Bleeding Cool, CBR. All these different places are talking about the biggest thing about it, which is Jeff Johns, Jim Lee,
Justice League, yeah.
And the covers all over the internet.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I'm still arguing at this point. I will argue until I see it happen.
Well,
I will. And the thing is, I don't think this relaunch is what you think it is. Because from your perspective, it's a complete wipe away of DC Universe, and then just them slapping on an entire new story.
Look at Superman.
Let me get my point across. Is that I don't think that they're I agree. They have done that before. Obviously, that's fact. That's happened. But I don't think at this stage in the game that they're going to go ahead and do that right now. I mean, yes, they have the opportunity with Flashpoint because prime opportunity right now. This is changing storyline. Why not?
I understand your point, but my comparison is the fact that how many Batman books are you seeing canceled? How many Green Lantern books are you seeing canceled? How many of these other bullshit books are you seeing canceled?
No, I'm saying that's fine. The consolidating of the books, I agree with because it needs to happen. Shelves are getting packed with crap that don't need to be there. Well, random side stories that are just stupid. But
hold on a second. I'm going to pull out something a little bit. Let's talk about the 10 books that are so far previewed just online. We got Wonder Woman, #1 by Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang. That is a great team for a book that's
going to be weird.
It needs the help badly.
It is,
I mean,
yes.
They just have. It's been tried. Yeah. What's his face? Your boy Stratz tried it.
Yeah.
Straczynski.
I don't know
tried
what's going on with that.
But that didn't end up working out. We got Aquaman #1 by Jeff Johns and Ivan Reis. This is a character that is desperately needed a reboot.
Yeah.
And Jeff Johns has done him great in like the Brightest Day stuff.
He did. No, I was actually interested in reading Aquaman.
Right.
Just him in general. He actually made him relevant.
Yeah, I didn't care for Brightest Day too much, but Aquaman was.
He was really good.
He was good.
Well, beyond the fact he was the only believable character in Brightest Day.
Yeah.
He got revived, and the first thing that he went and found his wife.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the most realistic thing they could do. Next, we got Flash, which I'm not really familiar with this writer, Brian Buccellato. And Francis Manapul, Francis Manapul, we know. Buccellato, I'm not really familiar with. But DC's trying out new writers and new artists, new different creative combinations.
If there's a time to do it, that would be the time.
Right,
exactly. They're starting a new. But like I said though, I don't think they're going with the complete reboot. I think that's why they're calling it a relaunch because it may just be nicing it up for you, but at the same time, hold on, because I see your finger.
It's there.
It's there, I know. But the thing that what they're trying to do is, again, like you said, consolidate the books, and this is their prime opportunity to do that. But I don't think that I agree that they're changing stuff. I agree that they're going to change some stuff in the DC universe, and make it seem like a brand new DC universe. Right. But I don't think they're just going to go ahead and because that would make every single book that's going on right now irrelevant. That's my point.
Like I said, it's not the first time it's happened.
I agree. But that would make the current storyline and anything that's going on right now just dumb.
Though, because all of this is leading up to Flashpoint and post-Flashpoint.
Not only that, you got to look at like Justice League. Justice League, again, that's one of the books that's been dying to be again, because how long has Justice League been out for? How many years? And I haven't been reading it, mind you.
Tell me one thing,
because I didn't care for it.
When have you known Action Comics and Detective Comics, the two mainstay books of DC, being rebooted at one? When has that ever happened?
No, I don't know.
Scott, has that ever happened? Nope.
0 times.
0 times. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a really big deal.
And I'm not disputing that fact. I just don't think that they're gonna just wipe away everything and then just slap a new
a new paint job
on
if
it.
you look
at
again with Justice League, because that's the big one they kept talking about.
Right.
Because if you look at some of the characters in there, right, some of the designs of the costumes and look at Superman.
Well, beyond the fact
he looks young.
Yeah, he does. So he also has a new costume. You know, but they're actually bringing back the big boys for that team. You know, you have Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, and Cyborg.
And not only Green Lantern, Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, that's
generally
right.
Generally it's John Stewart.
Yep. And like those are the big characters.
Yeah.
The ones that people have been wanting to see back in that book.
So, yeah.
And they've been teasing around with it because all these guys want to be like, well, I don't want to use Flash or I don't want to use Hal Jordan.
That's also coming out too. I'm reading I haven't read the rest of them.
Dude, The Fury of Firestorm #1. Ethan Van Sciver and Gail Simone with Yildiray Sonar.
Wow.
That's
a really
Gail Simone and Ethan Van Sciver, that's going to be good.
Yeah, Gail Simone, I love her for her run of Secret Six, man. One of my favorite books out there.
Well, biggest thing also, Gail Simone's not going to be on Birds of Prey when it relaunches.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It's not going to be.
That's where she's going right there.
Then we got Hawkman #1 by Tony Daniel and Philip Tan.
Oh, wow.
I've been waiting for Hawkman to get his on.
I don't remember you told me.
I mean, he's a really great character. They don't really do a whole lot with him.
Green Arrow.
Now they have the chance because Shiara. That's the thing, though, is they bring back Hawkman. Shiara,
she's dead.
Yeah, she died in Brightest Day. Again. And it's, especially with the curse is gone, she's not being reborn. That's it.
No,
she's done.
I think, she's done.
The curse is over. She's dead for real.
Funniest thing is about this now is that we got another Green Arrow #1 coming out from J.T. Kroll. And, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he just put out Green Arrow #1 a year ago?
Yeah, but you got to remember the whole scenario with what's it called, Brightest Day, Green Arrow's in the forest and he's killing and stuff like that. Because this is what kind of proves the point of, if it's being rebooted, think about it, time being rebooted again where Green Arrow is not killing his villains. You got to realize that too. He's a good guy again. He's not a vigilante murdering villains or anything like that.
Well, I don't know. Well, they've said themselves at DC that they're calling it a relaunch for a reason and not a reboot. As to what that means,
well, I've been trying to get it out of
both of those things. Pretty much mean the same thing.
I was trying to get the answer
they pretty much mean the same thing, but they wouldn't go out of their way to call it a relaunch if it wasn't. If it was just a reboot.
I think that's just more just being like, hey, fanboy, calm down. Don't freak out before we put up.
Well, no, because they made it a point to say it's not a reboot; it's a relaunch. They made it a point.
Bob Kane went out of his way to say that this is not a reboot; it's a relaunch.
Bob Wayne.
Bob Wayne. My bad.
VP of Sales. He went out of his way to say, hey, it's not a reboot; it's a relaunch.
That could be more of. I mean, he's the head of marketing. Gosh, he's going to the fanboys. Chill out, fanboys.
Still,
don't freak.
But remember,
Still though,
we're going. I'm going to go back to another. Remember the Siege. Remember my prediction for Siege one time when I was going to say.
Oh, dude, we were both talking about it.
Yeah, it was
about the massive wide.
Remember the day I told you, and I'm like, Kev, I think I figured this out, and I told you, I said it's a mass brand new day.
Well, also biggest thing about this is the fact that Jim Lee, Jeff Johns are incorporating Wildstorm characters and teams into the DCU.
I got you.
Case in point, Grifter #1 is going to be coming out, and they're also talking about throwing in Authority. This will be the only time that we, to my knowledge, that we actually know there was a crossover.
Yeah,
but we're going to be seeing the Authority and the Justice League in the same world.
Yeah, because
that's a big deal.
Remember they started doing it already with Swamp Thing.
Well, Swamp Thing is a Vertigo character.
Yeah.
He used to be a DCU character.
Yeah, but then we switched on to Vertigo, and now it's back into this universe.
Also, case in point, Hellblazer. That being John Constantine. He's never been a mainstay
That's
DC
true.
character.
Well, it's because, remember, since they ended Wildstorm, this is DC's new ploy,
also beyond the fact that Jim Lee's now one of the heads of DC.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, it's like a toss-up. Like, you want it, but then you like,
exactly.
It's new territory, basically. Right. And you just got to be like, accept it, or just be like,
also,
we'll see. That's what
really cool thing is, we also got Justice League International #1.
Yeah,
it's being done by Dan Jurgens and Aaron Loresti,
which I'm liking because I mean,
Guy Gardner,
Fire and Ice.
Yeah,
and you got what
But yeah, JLI. That was that was such a great book in the '80s. It was such a. That's the thing about it. Like it's another book that I read on the side, like Legion of Superheroes. Paul Levitz does that book, and what I love about that book, it feels like old school '80s book. It feels like old school Legion. So hopefully this Justice League JSI will be like that old school good '80s stuff. I mean,
JLI.
Yes, that's what I mean. JLI will be that old school JLI book. You know.
Right.
It'll feel like that 80s vibe to it.
This one is almost mind-boggling to me. We got Mr. Terrific #1
remember
by Eric Wallace and Roger Robinson.
He died. That's the thing, too.
Yeah, he died, and he comes back and he's got a new costume.
So, this is another thing,
I
too.
mean, it's the same character.
Well, you got to remember,
T-balls again.
Since we aren't dealing with time,
T-balls.
And what's the last one?
Okay, no, we actually got 2 more after that. We got Captain Atom #1 by J.T. Kroll and Freddie Williams.
How many times
Williams like, dude, it's weird.
J.T. Kroll's getting around.
Well, beyond the fact that Captain Atom, I mean, they've tried with that character so many times.
Yeah,
and nothing's really bore
then,
fruit. I mean, it's just he's kind of a dull character.
Well, no, he should have. He's
too powerful.
He should have stayed in JLI. That's what it is.
True.
He was good there.
And then the last one is pretty cool because it's a book focusing on Dead Man, and great writer, especially for a character that they need to. Although he was so important in Brightest Day, they haven't really made him important. And that is
by himself,
right?
Yeah,
and that is DC Universe Presents #1 by Paul Jenkins and Bernard Chance. I mean,
bring in a story about Dead Man.
Dead Man, straight up.
Yeah.
Well, which I mean is good because the crap that he had to go through in Brightest Day, just to go back to where he was.
Yeah.
They brought just the White Lantern brought him back to life just to go back to his old life, his old life as a ghost. And just
yeah, well also,
that sucks.
Yeah, well, also that, the fact that he also fell in love with Dove.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he dies again.
Yeah, and they gave him a chance at life. He died again after falling in love with Dove.
Right.
And now it's over.
And
now he's back to where he was.
The relaunch. The coolest thing to me is the fact that DC is trying to modernize their world, and I mean that's really cool. I mean, Wildstorm did it with their world,
but they were doing that with the Earth 1 books. Remember?
Yeah. However, those were straight to trade back.
Yeah.
I mean, those weren't mainstay books that were coming out.
True.
They want to boil down their world and also incorporate a lot of the licensing rights that they have. The Wildstorm stuff, the Vertigo stuff. They want to start to consolidate.
They want to get rid of. Those two, since this whole reboot started, they get rid of all the side characters like Superboy, Supergirl. Because there's always been a lot of problems with those.
Oh, dude, what's even better than that? It kind of sucks a little bit for the fanboys, but it'll probably be a little bit more accessible to like the girls. Is the fact that they're trying to make the characters more realistic, and the fact that you aren't going to have Supergirl running around in like a super miniskirt that flashes her panties every time that she moves. So she's probably going to be wearing pants just like Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Well, then
which
I'm done.
sucks.
Wonder Woman.
It seems I'm done then. We'll see.
Again, if they do the whole thing as a relaunch, I'm kind of okay because the thing is, like, in the main state of what they're doing with Green Lantern, Jeff Johns has put his point across it, and when he ends his story, I'll be content with it, and I'm like, you know what? That was awesome, and if they got to redo it and he's not on it, I'm kind of glad.
If it comes to where I am wrong and it is just a complete reboot, and they just go ahead and say,
you'll be paying me $500. So
whatever, and they just get rid of the whole Blackest Night, that whole story. I mean, granted, if they get rid of it, if they do what he thinks he's saying that they're going to do, it's just wipe away everything.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
They're changing a lot of stuff. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And my opinion is not that they're going to just go ahead and wipe away most stories and get rid of the DC universe as we know it now. Is my opinion is once this resolves, Flashpoint resolves, it's going to change a lot of stuff, but we're still going to be in the same universe.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's getting me. That's the thing that I'm saying.
All right. Biggest thing for me is that how would you rationalize that when you have all these Wildstorm characters just randomly appearing in the world?
Flashpoint. That's their excuse.
Dude, come on.
That's their excuse.
They haven't shown one Wildstorm character so far.
They don't have
in
to.
this book. Why not?
As soon as Flashpoint ends and it resolves, and all of a sudden the Wildstorm characters are in the story, it's like, okay, well, this is the after effects. This is the aftermath.
Well, you got to remember Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Dude, it would make a lot more sense if during this book they're like, oh yeah, here's a grifter or here's the authority.
No, that's what
and then they randomly got incorporated.
No, that's what I'm saying to you.
If not, it makes zero sense. It would be like, oh hey Ricky, we're gonna buy a book that you have and just piece it out and put it together with something when it wasn't featured in the book originally.
No, here's to help your argument is remember Crisis on Infinite Earth, the different universes, and then when all the universes combined into one, each of those characters like the Huntress and
I just don't believe
folded. but they were seen in those books. Just remember that.
Right.
That's what I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Well, I don't think it's. I still until I see it in front of me.
Biggest thing is
I don't think it's going to be.
Biggest thing is Superman young, new costume.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to do a reboot to make him younger.
Why not?
That's kind of true, but
they could just do it's a complete change. I mean, there's a change coming from Flashpoint. That's obvious, but they don't have to go ahead and wipe away the entire story just to be like, hey, you're young.
However, the only thing with you is that you believe that there's going to be less change, whereas I believe there's going to be more change. Which everything that I've seen thus far, all the pictures for the characters, the ongoing series, Hawkman looks completely different. You know, you got Superman looks completely different. Wonder Woman looks different. Batman looks different. He's not wearing that really gay, Grant Morrison-esque, Batman little yellow symbol in the center of his chest. He's going back to the original look, and you got a lot of these characters look completely different. Why do they look completely different if there wasn't a massive amount of things changing?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there's nothing changing. I'm saying that there's
no, but I'm saying there's a lot changing.
I'm saying there's not as much changing as you think there is.
I think there's a lot changing. Well, I think there's a lot changing. You don't believe there is that much. Edwin's kind of on the fence.
Well, yeah. So. The thing is,
we'll go either way with it.
It'll, what the supports the whole thing with that.
But I'll say check it out. You got to look online, check it out, and just wait for it because there'll be a lot of great books coming out from a lot of great.
Maybe even just comment on the comments and let us know what you think. Yeah. Maybe tell us, maybe give us an argument so that maybe I can change my opinion, or maybe he can change his opinion. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
All right.
If not. Again, I'm not changing my opinion until I see face facts in my.
From us at Action Games Comics, myself, Kevin, and my true believers, Ricky and Edwin.
Yeah.
That's all we got for you tonight. Take it easy.
Adios.
La 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 la, ma ma ma, na 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 na, la 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 la, oh.